Hey, what's up, GoHighLevelers, and welcome back to another tutorial. In this video, we're going to learn how to set up a services calendar system that can automate a barbershop. Now, before we dive into the configuration, let's take a look at this example here. So this is the structure of a barbershop where they would have a few chairs, then they would be providing a few services like haircuts or shaves. And to fulfill these services, they will have some staff members like barbers and stylists, as well as some inventory for a few things that they need like razors or shears. So keeping in view all the structure, our goal is to create a calendar system where we can automate the booking experience for the customers. So let's jump into GoHighLevel and see how we can do that. All right, so I'm in my GoHighLevel account. The first thing I'm going to do is add in my staff members. And in order to do that, we'll head over to settings and then click on my staff here. And then we're going to add a few employees. The first thing I've added is their first and last name, as well as the email. Make sure this is the right email because this is where they would get their login information. Then we're going to scroll down a little bit. Under user permissions, we can choose which kind of permissions they would have to the system. So let's say if you want to limit something like settings or something else, you can choose that here. So let's close that down. Then we're going to head over to user roles. You can also choose to make them an admin or a user. An admin would have all kinds of access to make changes. So let's do user for now, since that's the appropriate access. And then for the most important setting, we're going to head over to user availability. Now, this is where you would set up their shift timing because this will reflect in the calendar settings later on. So let's say Mark only works Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We can choose to do that. And if we want to change the timings here, let's say we want to do 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Let's change that to p.m. And then if we want to copy to all, we can do that. And now Mark's shift timings are set. And once we're happy with that, let's hit save. Now I'm going to add one more staff member. So we'll click on add employee, add in their contact information. Then I'm going to head down under user permissions. I'm going to turn off settings here. And then again, user roles, we can do user. And then under user availability. So let's set a different timing for this employee so we can see how that plays out later on in the calendar. So for this one, I'm going to choose all the days. And then we can say this staff member starts at, let's say, 11 a.m. and then goes all the way up to 7 p.m. for all the days. Once that is selected, let's hit save. And now we have a couple of staff members or barbers added into the location. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go back here and then we'll head over to calendars and then calendar settings. Now, the first step here would be to add in the rooms or chairs. So let me just click on that. Click on create a room. So let's call this salon chair, which would be basically used for haircuts and shaves. And then we can add in another kind of chair, which would be used for styling only. So I will add total capacity. Let's say this barbershop has 7. We can do that. And then we don't have to select a calendar now since we do not have one. We can do this later on as well. So once this is done, we will hit create and our first set of chairs will be added. Then we're going to add in the second type of chair, which would be the styling chair. And this would be used for hair styling only. And then for this, we can add in a total capacity of, let's say, 5 and then hit create. Now, based on this structure, we have added in the chairs as well as the staff members. So now it's time to add in the inventory. So let's go back here. Click on equipments here. Then I'm going to add in a new equipment and we can call this one razors and a total quantity of 20. You can also choose that out of service quantity and then hit create and then add shears as well. And we can do the same quantity for that and hit create. Now, the next thing we have to set up are the services. So let's go back again. And then for that, we'll head over to calendars, click on create calendar, and we will choose the service calendar for this. So for the first one, let's do haircut and add in a description like mohawks, temper fade and stuff. Then we're going to select the staff member. Now, this is a very important setting because you have to make sure that you only select the staff members that can perform this service. So for now, let's do both of these and then we'll see how that plays out later on as well. Then add in a custom URL, add in the service duration, like let's say if it takes 30 minutes, we can do that. And then under booking availability, you have to select the business timings or the timings for this specific service. And then we're going to click on advanced settings to go over a few more things. So under service details, if you scroll down, you'll see that we have a group. As we don't have a group set up yet, I'll show you how to do that later on or map it. And then we have the custom URL and all that stuff. Then under availability, you can choose some more settings like preferred time, minimum scheduling notice. Then the customer can only book a time or a date within the next 14 days or whenever they're opening the calendar. Then under forms and payment, you can add in prepayments if you need to. For that, you need to have a payment method connected like Stripe. And then under notifications, you can set up notifications for like, let's say, assigned staff, whoever is going to fulfill the service. You can also notify the contact. And then under customizations, you can add in a cover image to make sure that your calendar looks really professional and neat. So for the cover image, I'm going to upload a sample here. Once that is uploaded, you can also customize a few more settings like the calendar color or the time slots color. Choose to show or not show calendar description. And then finally, under rooms and equipments, this is where you will select the right kind of inventory that is required to fulfill this service. So as you know, the salon chair is going to be used for this. So we'll select that here. And then under equipments, we're going to choose shears as that is the equipment that will be used for the haircuts. Once this is done, we'll just click on save and our first service calendar is ready. Now in a similar way, we're going to create two more calendars. So I'll just duplicate this one right here. And then I'm going to call this one shave and then keep the same description. The only thing I would change here is the customization part, for which I'm going to replace the image. So I'll just remove this one here and add in a new one. Once that is added, we'll head over to rooms and equipment. And for this one, again, because the salon chair would be used, so let's keep the same setting. And then for the equipments, let's choose razors as that is the equipment that is required to fulfill this service. Once this is all done, we'll hit save and this should be automatically updated. Now we will create our last calendar, and again, to save some time, I will duplicate this one here. This service calendar would be for hairstyling, and then let's add in a description. Then I'm going to scroll down and take off one of these members here. So let's say, for sake of an example, we'll take off Henry and Mark should be the only one fulfilling this service. So let's do that and we'll see how that affects our calendar. Then under customizations, I'm going to add in a new image. Once this is done, let's head over to rooms and equipments. For this one, we're going to choose the styling chair, take this one off. And for equipments, I'm going to choose the hair dryer. Now I added this at the back end. Of course, you can add in some more equipments relevant to your industry. And once that is selected, we'll just hit save. Now you can see that we have 3 services calendars set up. So the next thing we're going to do is group these services together. So let's head over to groups. For the first group, let's call it haircuts and shaves, add in a group description, then add in a URL, and then let's hit create. In a similar way, we're going to create another group, and this is for styling services only. Add in a description and then a URL as well. So once this is done, let's hit create again. And now we have 2 calendar groups. Now we're going to head over to calendars and then categorize these under the specific groups. So for the haircut, we're going to move it to the haircuts and shaves and hit select. And you'll see that now it is assigned to this group. And we'll do the same thing for the shave services calendar as well. So let's do that real quick. And then for hairstyling, that would go under the second kind of group, which is styling only. And then let's hit select and now it is done. Now, if we head over to the groups, we can get 2 individual links for the kind of groups we have. So let's see how that looks like. We can copy a scheduling link. And when I open this, you'll see that it is showing us the 2 services that are added under this group. And we can check the same thing for styling as well. So if we copy that scheduling link, paste that here, now it will only show us that specific group. Now, let's say you want to add both of these services together on a website or somewhere. For that, we'll have to create a service menu. So in order to do that, let's head back, click on service menu here, then click on this button. Then we can give it a name, add in a description, add in a URL as well, change the form here. And now if we scroll down, there's a few additional options under the service menu. So the first one is the ability to enable guests. You can choose to do that. And then enabling multiple service selection. So let's say if you want to give the ability to the customers where they can book multiple services at the same time, just like adding multiple products to carts, you can do this with services as well. If you keep that enabled, then that would be an option for your customers too. And then you can also enable or disable staff selection based on your preferences. Now, once these are done, we're going to head over to select services. And here you can select the services that you want to list under the service menu. Now, because we want all of these, so we'll select that. And then under arrange your services, you can change the order on how they should appear like. And once you're happy with these settings, we're going to hit save and we're pretty much done with the setup. So now let's take a look on how the final product looks like. So we'll click on the 3 dots, copy either the permanent or the scheduling link, and then we are going to open it in a new window. Now, once this loads, you can see that this is how the final product will look like. We have the menu name and description here, and then we have the 2 groups here, and then the 3 services calendar that we created. In a similar way, you can add more groups, you can add more service calendars based on your preferences, and this is the final product that would go out to your customers. Now, let's say I'm a customer and I want to book 2 services like a haircut and a shave together. So what I'll do is click on book for haircut. I can choose to add guests if I need to. And then either I can click continue, or if I have to add more services, I'll do that. And then I can choose shave as well. And on the right, I can see what kind of services I've selected as well as the total duration. And once I click on continue, it gives me the option to select staff because we left that option on. So for the haircut, let's say I prefer one specific barber. So I'm going to click here and then choose, let's say, Mark. And then for shave, I'm going to choose Mark as well. And then I'm going to click on confirm, and it is going to find the available slots for me based on the settings that I've selected. Now, here's an interesting thing that I want to highlight here before we click continue. So if you remember, Mark is the staff member where we had some custom availability set up based on his shift timings. So if we go back here and take a look at that again, we'll see under user availability that Mark does not work on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if I go here now and select either a Tuesday or a Thursday, you will see that we don't have any available slots. And that is because I have selected Mark to perform this service. So it's not just dependent on the business timings itself, but it is also based on the fact that which barber have you chosen and if they're working in that specific slot or not. Now, if I were to change the staff member, you'll see that the Tuesday's availability will open up. So let's put that to a test. I'm going to go back here. And for the staff member, I'm going to select Henry for the haircuts as well as for the shave. And now if I hit confirm, you'll see that the Tuesdays and Thursdays will open up. So let's test that now. So you can see on the Tuesdays, I have the open slots now. If I go to Thursdays, again, I can see some open slots. And that is how this calendar system can automate the booking experience, because now the customer does not have to call the business and ask if this staff member is available in this date. They can just select the staff member or leave that open, get the available slots, choose a time, and hit continue. Now for the final step, all we have to do is add in the information and then click on schedule appointment. And that is pretty much it. So that was pretty much about it. This is how you can take the load off a reception or a front desk for a barbershop, and you can replicate this model easily for any industry out there. I hope you found some value in this video. Do try this out, and thank you for watching.